I did not expect this chapter to be leaked and translated this fast. I mean, the leaks came out Wednesday and were translated like 4 hours later, so we're here. So now we get Sukuna's own words of him praising Higuruma for learning domain amplification, and he even goes as far as it says when it comes to curse technique manipulation, Higuruma is on his level. So we're talking about after seeing his deadly sentencing and the executioner's sword and the way he's able to wield it, he believes that Higuruma is on that level. As in his fight with Gojo, he was going between domain amplification and his curse technique back and forth to combat Gojo. This is pretty big because with Higuruma being such a prodigy and him learning domain amplification after only seeing it once, going into battle and learning it instantly, that's insane. We don't really see it in JJK like that because a lot of it is mental fortitude and focusing on your curse energy and being able to reach that peak. Rarely do you see it with a character who just is learning how to be a sorcerer. And one thing I love about Sukuna is that whenever he realizes that someone immensely strong is in front of him or someone that he views has exciting potential, you can just see he starts to turn it up. He's amping up his power. And recently I've been feeling like with Sukuna doing this, it almost feels as if he's waiting for the right person to finally kill him. Because even in Sukuna's words, he knows that he's not going to live forever. It's like he's waiting for that final sorcerer that could reach a level above him and take him out. As even in sections of the chapter, you see Higuruma trying to learn on the spot, trying to combat four-armed Sukuna in combat with the executioner's sword. But Sukuna with just his bare hands is still able to overwhelm Higuruma with his speed. Meanwhile, Yuji on the other hand, Sukuna just does not care about Yuji. Even when Yuji steps in, he tries to protect Higuruma a little bit. He grabs him by the arm, then uses his other arms and does a point-blank cleave on Yuji's stomach. And Sukuna has been hammering home how bored he is of Yuji. But if you notice in chapter 215, when they really start to go at it for the first time one-on-one, Yuji versus Sukuna, Sukuna looked his most excited when Yuji was just in a rage, eyes blanked out. He's only focused on killing Sukuna. That was really the only stretch that we noticed, that Sukuna did notice how powerful Yuji was, at least physically. But once Maki stepped into the frame, it was like Sukuna was disappointed with Yuji. Like he knows that he can be better, but he's just not tapping into that potential. And to me, this is one of Sukuna's just coldest moments. Is with a chant enhanced dismantle, he cuts off Higuruma's right arm. Now, I will say before that, where he was doing the chants and you see him upside down, you know, he tried to take a little bit of Gojo flow. I'm not mad at it though, because they both look cool as hell. But Sukuna actually demanded that he learn RCT to heal himself. He sees the monster, the potential that's Higuruma, and if he can learn RCT on the spot, similar to how he learned domain amplification, he'd really unlock a whole new power that he never had. Now this alone pretty much shifted a lot of tier lists for people, because I know Higuruma definitely bumped up a little bit when we're talking about character rankings. Now normally you would think Sukuna's mocking him, but like he doesn't come off like that at all. If anything, he's like wishing that he gets this RTT because he wants to keep fighting him. Also, I liked the little moment before where in his head, Higuruma's like, no matter how cold-hearted, no matter how thorough my resolve is, the pain is still clear as day. We know from a theoretical standpoint that he's dead inside. He's lost all his meaning as a lawyer. He doesn't really value his life anymore. He's just turned himself into a tool to help us. But seeing that fighting Sukuna is actually bringing some of the best out of him and bringing that joy, that value to his life is pretty impactful. It's almost like with Sukuna, he's through battle, bringing people to their full potential and actually making them not have any regrets before they die. And there was a piercing blood launched off screen kind of by Choso. I was kind of hoping it was Yuji low key because Choso wasn't in the frame, but Sukuna says from the older brother, so it's clearly Choso. Now after that distraction, Higuruma was actually able to stab Sukuna's hand with the executioner's sword. It's just, you know, Sukuna with the big brain plays cut his hand off before he did that, so now it was pretty much a useless move, but it is a nice shot for the attempt. And you can see in the panel alone with Higuruma scrunched up face in pain that Sukuna landed a lethal blow. And something issue I didn't expect to be brought up was the aspect of curses getting stronger post-mortem. Now this could be a metaphor, kind of like a double entendre for curses that are left after dead. Of course, the ones that are said with words, or the actual curses, the cursed spirits. It's really a statement that can have multiple meanings to it depending on how Gege wants to approach it, or at times, as he likes to do, leave all the assumptions up to the reader. And it's pretty ironic how this is brought up again when it comes to Yuji of leaving curses behind for him, as it first started all in chapter 1, and even up till now he's still getting left behind with the task of taking care of others and taking care of what's in front of him. As Higuruma lob tosses Yuji the executioner's sword, Unfortunately, you see in the panel that Higuruma has been diced up, more than likely with a cleave, and his eyes are starting to fade. And just like Nanami, it looks like his eyes are saying, "You've got it from here." And this is pretty cool considering that Higuruma and Nanami have been compared ever since the introduction of Higuruma. And if this is pretty much confirming that Higuruma is dead, what a way to go out. One of the better characters to come out of JJK, especially with the short amount of time that was given to him in terms of just fleshing out his character through battle, through the flashback, through what he's going through mentally and his whole role and things. I think Gege did a phenomenal job with Higuruma. And just as you start to feel like a little bit sorry because of what's going on, you also get immediately amped with hype as Yuji is now knowing his role as a Jujutsu sorcerer with a backhand stab. He's trying to stab Sukuna in the back with the executioner sword that looks like a dagger. Is this the end of Sukuna? No, he ain't going up. I think not only is it cool, but also some really great storytelling is with Yuji and Higuruma. They are finding the value in their life more than just the tools that they are used as to take down Sukuna in this instance. And it's like the more that they will learn about their curse energy, what they can do, what they can really awaken, whether it was the RCT with Higuruma or with Yuji, who I'm anticipating to learn something huge in a couple chapters. They are learning that they are greater than what they view themselves as. I think it's beautiful storytelling. That's something that I love that Gege has honestly really started to get a hone for and master, is that he's learning how to really flesh out characters through other conflicts, interactions with, or other problems, or whatever the storyline is. He did have a statement like a week ago where he was talking about how for young authors, and even I will throw in old, you cannot rely on backstory to try to flesh out a character or to progress a story. Because if anything, it puts a lot of things on a halt, and whatever's happening currently is going to come back, and then we can finally continue with the story. Where I feel like a lot of authors are kind of struggling when it comes to mangaka, of learning how to progress a story, a character, a theme, a dynamic, while also keeping the flow going to where everything feels natural. That's not to say backstories are bad or not to use backstories, but it's more so of, in this case for Sukuna, a backstory just adding a cherry on top of what's already been laid out. And with Higuruma's death and looking at some stuff I was seeing on Twitter, it's really coming to frame that in a weird way Sukuna is doing what Yuji has wanted to do, give people proper deaths. He's specifically giving the strong characters these proper deaths, removing them of any regret that they've ever had. Meanwhile, Yuji just wants proper deaths for everybody, whether you're strong or weak. While Sukuna was praising Higuruma for how strong he was as a sorcerer, Yuji appreciated someone like Higuruma for being strong as a person. And that dynamic and that clash, that parallel with Yuji and Sukuna is just all throughout the manga. And I'm glad that hopefully we can get another stretch of just 1v1 Yuji versus Sukuna, because that dialogue they're gonna have, I feel like it's gonna be some of the best from both sides of the spectrum. By the way, last point, it was people talking about Sukuna has plot armor because he cut his hand off. How do you do that? Well, Sukuna at this point is probably the fastest in the series, if not one of the top 3 fastest. So of course he's gonna be able to rack faster than both Yuji and Higuruma. And plus we've seen something like this happen before with Todo. So it's not like he got a power up or he did something that was just out of character. This is just high battle IQ. Also, that Yuji durability, them feats is going up and up because he's still moving with a chunk of his stomach gone. I don't know, especially with a cleave, that has to hurt like shit. But I know he doesn't have any RCT, he ain't learned that yet. Maybe he learned some type of blood manipulation. Maybe he learned flowing red scale. I don't know. But I do know next chapter in the next year, we're either doing a POV switch or Yuji is gonna go solo with Sukuna and then either Ino or Chozo tags in. But I'll holler at y'all in the next one. Peace.
How I got my tracks and fingers back in the house.